There are moments in life, moments when time stands still. Moments when all the striving, all the questions, all the noise fade. And all that remains is Him. My dearest friend, if I could sit with you for just 5 minutes, look into your eyes, hold your trembling hand, and give you one piece of advice that changed everything for me, it would be this. Surrender. Surrender your will. Surrender your dreams. Surrender your pain. Surrender your plans. Surrender the broken pieces you've hidden from the world and even from yourself. Because the moment you surrender everything to God is the moment He can do something with your life. Not your strength, not your cleverness, not your striving, but His Spirit. Moving through a yielded vessel. I remember a day, a simple day, nothing grand. No thunder, no spotlight, just me and God. I said, if you can use nothing, then take my nothing. And my friend, he took it. Oh, how he took it. You may be listening right now, burdened, afraid, disappointed. You've tried everything. You've pushed and pulled and performed and prayed, but still feel empty. And I'm telling you, the answer isn't more. The answer is less of you and more of Him. That's the secret. That's the power. That's the beauty. Voice rising gently. He's not waiting for perfection. He's not waiting for a polished version of you. He's waiting for a yes. Just one pure, trembling yes from your heart. And when He hears it, when heaven hears it, the impossible becomes possible. He will heal what you cannot. He will restore what you've lost. He will breathe life into what looks dead. But only when you stop trying to be the Savior and let the real Savior save you. Let Him carry you, let Him love you, let Him be enough. Because I promise you with every fiber of my being, there is no greater life, no richer joy, no deeper peace than the life lived in total surrender to God. This is my best life advice. Give Him everything, and He will give you more than you ever dare to dream. Yes, lifted, voice tender. This is holy ground, friend, right where you are. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for someone to validate you. Just say yes. Say yes now. And watch what God will do. There is something sacred, so sacred about this very moment. Just stop. Breathe. Feel the stillness underneath the noise, the hush beneath your heartbeat. Isn't it a miracle that you are here now, breathing, listening, alive? We go through life rushing, hurrying to the next thing, the next goal, the next answer. But how often do we truly pause and marvel? Not just think or analyze, but marvel at the wonder of being, the wonder of life itself. You didn't create your breath. You didn't wake yourself up this morning by your own power. Something, someone greater than you gently whispered, "Live," and you did. Oh, how we underestimate the beauty of existence. How we overlook the miracle wrapped inside the ordinary. The sunlight spilling through a window. the sound of a bird's song outside, the way your heart keeps beating without you even asking it to, the mystery of love, the ache of longing, the warmth of tears, every bit of it, all of it is sacred. Every breath is a gift that was never promised. And when we become aware of that, truly aware, everything shifts. The posture of the soul bends low, not in fear, but in reverence, in quiet wonder at the majesty and gentleness of a God who holds galaxies in his hands, yet sees you, knows your name, knows the number of hairs on your head, knows the thoughts you haven't spoken, knows the ache behind your smile. It is here, in this holy awareness, that real life begins. Not the life made of performance or pressure or perfection, but a life rooted in awe, anchored in the presence of the one who formed you, who fashioned every moment of your story, even the broken chapters, with purpose. You are not random. Your days are not accidents. There's a divine intention behind every second. So today I do not come to impress you. I do not come to deliver some clever formula for success. I come only to invite you into this sacred pause, to feel again, to remember again, to stand in awe again. Because before we do anything, we must remember who holds everything. There is a power this world does not understand. It does not come from striving. It does not come from ambition or control or the endless pursuit of self. It comes from something the world often sees as weakness, something quiet, something invisible. It comes from surrender. I'm not talking about giving up. No. This is not defeat. This is not resignation. This is the highest kind of victory. This is laying down the smallness of what you can do so God can pick it up and do what only He can. This is when your story turns from human effort into divine orchestration. A surrendered life is not one without pain. It is one where pain no longer has the final word. It is not free from questions, but it is full of peace. Peace that doesn't come from knowing the outcome, but from knowing the one who holds the outcome in his hand. When you surrender, you step out of the exhausting illusion that you have to be strong all the time. You let God be strong for you. You stop carrying the weight of your own future, your reputation, your survival. You hand it over. You whisper, I trust you more than I trust myself. And in that moment, heaven moves. Do you know what God can do with a life fully surrendered? He can take a broken vessel and pour healing through it. He can take the least likely and raise them to places they never dared to dream. He can take a whisper of faith and turn into a roar of purpose. But not until you let go. Not until you unclench your fists and say, have all of me. It doesn't always look spectacular on the outside. It may look like silence. It may look like waiting. It may look like tears on a pillow, whispered prayers, and hands raised when no one else is watching. But in the unseen places, power is being released. The kind of power that parts seas, that raises dead things, that changes everything. The most extraordinary lives I've ever known were not the loudest, the strongest, or the most talented. They were the most surrendered. They walked not in their own confidence, but in the quiet, unstoppable strength of a life yielded fully to God. And the beautiful part, You don't have to qualify for surrender. You just have to say yes, right where you are, as you are. The moment you do, everything changes. Not always around you, but within you. And that, my friend, is where true power begins. There are some things that can't be explained. They can only be felt. And this is one of them. I could stand here and give you facts. I could quote verses, recite wisdom, weave beautiful words together, but none of it matters if it doesn't come from the heart. Because the heart speaks a language that logic cannot. It reaches places no argument ever will. You know it when you hear it. It doesn't sound polished. It doesn't sound perfect. It sounds real. It sounds like truth wrapped in love, like someone handing you their soul instead of just their script. I have learned through joy and through deep pain that what truly changes people is not intellect, it's compassion. It's not a well-rehearsed answer. It's the trembling voice of someone who's lived what they're saying. Someone who's cried through it, wrestled with it, and found God in the middle of it. There is a difference between speaking about God and speaking from an encounter with him. One will inform you. The other will transform you. You don't need someone to impress you today. You need someone to feel with you, to reach into that silent ache inside you and say, I've been there too. And even there, he was faithful. And I can only say that because I've lived it. I've lived the disappointment, the delay, the broken dreams, the secret prayers whispered when no one was watching. And I've seen how God met me, not when I had it all figured out, but when I had nothing left to offer. So no, I won't speak to you today from a place of theory. I will speak from a place of scars that have healed. From places in my soul that have known both the wilderness and the wonder. From a heart that has been undone by mercy again and again. Because this isn't about a performance. This isn't about getting it right. This is about love. And love doesn't come from the head. It comes from the deepest, softest, most surrendered parts of who we are. And I believe with all my heart that your heart knows the difference. There is a kind of closeness with God that words can barely touch. It's not about religion. It's not about checking boxes or following rules. It's not found in loud declarations or public displays. It is quiet, gentle, sacred. It happens in the stillness where no one else sees. It happens in the ordinary moments when your heart turns toward him with nothing but honesty and need. This is the deepest truth I know. God doesn't want your performance. He wants you. Not the cleaned up version. Not the version who has all the answers. Not the one who feels worthy. He wants the real you. The tired you. The broken you. The questioning you. The one that no one else fully understands. And when you begin to open your heart like that, when you begin to speak to him, not as a far-off deity, but as the one who already knows you, something holy unfolds. It's like coming home. You realize he was never far away, not even for a moment. He was always whispering, always waiting, always loving, even when you couldn't Feel him. Intimacy with God is not something reserved for the spiritual elite. It's not earned, it's received. It happens when you stop trying to impress him and start letting him in, into your questions, into your fears, into your longings and your silence, into the moments when you don't even know how to pray, but your tears speak on your behalf. This closeness, this communion, it is the treasure of life. And once you've tasted it, nothing else satisfies. Not success, not applause, not even the fulfillment of your own dreams, because being near him, knowing him, hearing his voice, that is the very reason you were created. That is where your soul finally rests. And the most beautiful part, he wants it more than you do. He's not waiting for you to climb some ladder to reach him. He already came all the way down to where you are. All you have to do is turn. Just turn your heart ever so slightly in his direction, and he is there, closer than your next breath. This isn't about religion. It's about relationship. It's about love. And there is no advice greater, no path more powerful than the one that leads you deeper into that holy, breathtaking, life-altering intimacy with the one who knows you best and still calls you beloved. I remember a night, not just any night, but one of those nights where the air feels heavy and the silence is loud. I was alone in a room, the lights dim, the walls too quiet, the weight of my own thoughts pressing in like a fog. I had reached the end of something, not the end of my life, no, but the end of trying, the end of holding it all together, the end of pretending I wasn't tired. Tears began to fall. Quiet at first, then without apology. I wasn't crying because something terrible had happened. I was crying because everything I had built felt empty. I'd done all the right things, followed all the rules, said all the right prayers, and still there was a silence in my soul I couldn't explain. And then it happened. Not a voice from the clouds, not a flash of light, not even a vision, just this overwhelming sense. No, more than a sense, it was a presence, a holy nearness, like someone was sitting right there on the edge of the bed with me, like arms invisible to the world had wrapped themselves around the pieces I could no longer carry. And all I heard, so softly, I almost missed it, was this: I never asked you to do it alone. It wrecked me, because deep down, I thought I had to prove myself. I thought I had to be strong, to be enough, to be worthy. But there he was, not asking me for perfection, just asking me to let him in, not with fanfare, not with a thunderclap, just with the quiet authority of a love so gentle, it undid me. I could tell you 100 theological facts about God, but none of them mean as much to me as that night. That simple night when everything in me broke open and he was there. There's something powerful about a story, because maybe in hearing mine, you recognize your own. Maybe you've had your own night, your own moment of collapse, your own desperate silence. And maybe, just maybe, you'll come to see he was there for you too. Maybe not how you expected, Maybe not with fireworks or angels, but in the stillness, in the in-between, in the broken breath, in the softest whisper. That's where the story shifts. That's where heaven bends close. That's where God shows up, not to impress, but to heal. You listening right now, yes, you. I don't know where you are sitting or what kind of day you've had, but I feel this deep in my spirit. You didn't come here by accident. There's something in you, something sacred and unseen that's been stirring. Maybe you haven't had the words for it. Maybe all you know is that you're tired of trying to figure it all out. Tired of smiling when your soul feels numb. Tired of living safe when something inside you was born for more. I'm not speaking to your circumstances. I'm not even speaking to your emotions. I'm speaking to the part of you that was alive before the world got loud. The part of you that remembers what it feels like to be near God, even if only in a whisper. I'm calling out to the place in you that still believes, even if it's buried under layers of disappointment and delay. There is a hunger in you that nothing else has satisfied. And you've tried, oh how you've tried, you've searched for peace in relationships, in accomplishments, in approval, in escape. And yet that ache remains. Why? Because your spirit isn't hungry for success. It's hungry for truth, for presence, for the divine breath of the one who made you. So come out of hiding, not physically, but spiritually. You've hidden long enough behind what you think is expected of you. But your spirit knows the sound of its creator's voice. And I believe it's recognizing it right now. That tug, that heat in your chest, that tear forming for no logical reason, that's not emotion. That's awakening. You've been searching for answers, but what you really need is encounter. You don't need a plan, you need a person. The one who knows you beyond language, beyond history, beyond failure. I'm not here to convince your mind. I'm here to awaken your soul. To tell you that you were made for more than survival. You were made for communion. You were made to walk in love. So deep, so transforming, that it redefines who you are. So if you hear this, truly hear it, don't brush it off. Don't scroll past it. Let it find the quiet place in you, because your spirit knows what your head keeps forgetting. Belong to him. And he's calling you home. We don't like brokenness. We try to hide it, patch it, cover it in smiles and busyness and well-rehearsed words. We've been taught to fear weakness, to run from pain, to keep the cracks in our lives out of sight. But what if I told you that it's in those very cracks that the light gets in? That the power you're looking for doesn't come after you've healed. It begins right in the middle of your breaking. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know when you're in the valley, the darkness feels endless. You wake up some mornings wondering how you'll make it through another day. The disappointment stacks up. The prayers go unanswered, and you start to believe the lie that you're disqualified, too wounded, too messy, too far gone. But oh, if you only knew how God sees you in that place. He's not repelled by your brokenness. He's drawn to it. He's the only one who doesn't flinch at your pain. He comes closer, not further, when the tears fall. While the world celebrates strength, He anoints the ones who limp. The ones who've been through the fire and are still standing, even if barely. You see, brokenness is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of real power. Because when everything falls apart, when all your strength is gone, that's when you finally stop striving. That's when you collapse into grace. That's when you discover that His power is made perfect, not in your strength, but in your weakness. You begin to understand things that only the broken understand. You become more tender, more compassionate, more real. You stop judging others because you know how it feels to be on the floor asking God if He still sees you. And He does. He always has. He doesn't throw broken things away. He restores them. He uses them. He builds beauty from ashes in ways that don't just heal you, they release others. Your scars become doors of hope for someone else. Your pain becomes a platform for His glory. That's not just survival, that's redemption. So don't despise the breaking. Don't rush past it. Let it teach you. Let it soften you. Let it open your eyes to the deeper places of God's love. Because when everything else is stripped away and all you have left is Him, you'll find that He is more than enough. Your brokenness is not your disqualification. It is your invitation. It's where power begins. Sometimes we make it all so complicated. We stack theology on top of theology, dress up our prayers in big words, measure our faith by how much we know or how strong we seem. But God isn't moved by performance. He's not impressed by polish. What moves His heart? What has always moved His heart is simple, childlike faith. The kind of faith that doesn't need all the answers, that doesn't wait for everything to make sense, that just believes gently, stubbornly, without apology, like a child reaching for a parent's hand in the dark, not because they've studied the science of trust, but because they know who's beside them. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a 10-point plan. You don't need to fake strength. What you need is a heart that says, Jesus, I don't understand everything, but I know you love me, and I trust you. That kind of faith is not weak. It is pure. It's the kind of faith that calms storms, moves mountains, opens heaven. Because it doesn't depend on how much we can do. It depends on who He is. Do you remember what it felt like to believe easily before disappointment hardened you, before fear built its walls, before life tried to convince you that faith was naive? God is calling you back to that place, back to the wonder, back to the simplicity, back to the wide-eyed trust that says, if you said it, I believe it. Not because it's logical, but because it's you. Let the layers fall off. Let the questions rest. Let your heart return to that childlike place where faith flows not from striving, but from relationship. You're not too old, not too broken, not too late to believe like a child again. And when you do, when you return to that innocent, open-hearted trust, you'll find that heaven meets you there, just like it always has. There is a kind of holiness that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't walk into a room needing to be noticed. It doesn't need a title or a platform or a microphone. It's quiet. It's real. It's the kind of holiness that lives in the eyes of someone who has been with God, not just visited him, but dwells with him. It's not about image, not about looking perfect. It's not about knowing how to say all the right things. It's about being with him so often, so honestly, that his nature starts to seep into yours. It shows up in the way you speak gently when you could have shouted, in the way you choose mercy when judgment would have been easier, in the way you forgive even when you're still bleeding. Holiness isn't stiff, isn't cold. It's not about being untouchable. It's about being deeply touched by God. It's not about walking around looking like you've got it all together. It's about walking humbly, knowing that without him, you have nothing. It's about being set apart, not because you're better, but because you've been undone by his love. True holiness smells like grace. It looks like peace. It feels like quiet strength in the middle of chaos. It never points to itself. It always points back to him. And when it's real, people know. They may not be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. In your presence, they'll feel his. Not because you tried to impress them, but because you dared to live so close to his heart that it changed everything about you without needing to say a word. This is the kind of life the world is starving for. Not loud religion, not empty show, but holy, humble lives that shine without striving. And friend, that can be you. Not when you've mastered everything, but right now, right here as you are. Just be with him. Let him mark you. Let him make you real. Because true holiness doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't demand, it draws. And it doesn't push people away. It makes them wonder, what must it be like to walk that close to God? So here we are. You've heard the words, but more than that, I believe your spirit has felt them. Not mine, his. The one who has been whispering to you beneath every sentence, stirring something ancient and eternal in the depths of your soul. And now, you remember the choice of love that will not let you go and let you fail for, and yet, whether you joyous and holy note or invited, and yet with the urgency of love that won't let you go and let you feel it. He's not asking for perfection. He's not waiting for you to clean up or figure it all out. He's simply saying, come. Come as you are. Come with the questions, with the weariness, with the longing you can't quite name. Come with your wonder. Come with your wounds. Come. This is not about religion. This is about relationship. About laying down the heavy, complicated version of life you've been carrying and stepping into something lighter, freer, realer than you've ever known. You don't have to strive your way into this. You don't have to prove yourself. All you have to do is open the door of your heart. Even just a crack. Even just enough for one whispered yes. That's all he needs. So if something inside you is trembling right now, if your heart is beating a little faster, if tears are close, if something sacred is stirring, that's him. That's his invitation. But run from it. Don't wait for a better time. Now is holy ground that is waiting for you. So now, beloved, as this moment draws to a close, I want you to remember this. The most powerful life you could ever live is not the one the world applauds. It's the one fully surrendered to the presence of God. A life marked not by control, but by trust. Not by striving, but by resting in the arms of the one who holds the universe and still calls you by name. Everything you truly long for, peace, purpose, love, belonging, it's not out there in the distance, it's here in him. It's in the quiet yes of a heart that dares to believe again. It's in the moment you stop resisting and simply fall into grace. You don't need more answers, you need more of him. So live open, live surrendered, live undone by love. Because when your life becomes the altar, his fire will always fall. And from that fire, a new you will rise. Not built by ambition, but formed by intimacy. Not driven by fear, but led by the Spirit. Not chasing purpose, but becoming it. Go now, not with noise, but with depth. Not with pride, but with power. Quiet, holy, surrendered power. And never forget, what God can do with a heart that is fully his will shake the world in ways no title, no platform, no plan ever could. You were born for this.